This is a new, latest, greatest Trek Domane AL5 road bike, and in this episode I will give you the buyer's guide for this bike, and at the end I will tell you should you just go ahead and buy it or should you just consider this bike. So, hello friends, and welcome to another episode of Cycling Insider. And as I was saying, this is the newest Trek Domane AL5 for the 2024 season with an excellent retail price of 2,000 US dollars. And as the name suggests, AL, this is the aluminium road bike with the carbon fiber fork. So let's first answer the question, who is this bike for? So with the retail price of 2,000 US dollars, it's a very attractive retail price. And also, Trek Domane has always been, relaxed geometry, long days in the saddle bike. So if you are looking for that type of the bike with the relaxed geometry, and also maybe you are just, starting your journey into the road cycling, then definitely this Trek Domane AL platform is very good to consider, again, because of the retail price of 2,000 US dollars. When you look at the paint schemes on this bike, there are two paint schemes to choose from. One is this very classical, totally blacked out matte black paint scheme with a hint of white. Looks very nice, but then they have this beautiful kind of light metallic green with a hint of black, which again looks stunning. And definitely, if I'm in the market for this bike, I would definitely go with this kind of lighter metallic green paint scheme. Okay, now we can dive into the specifications of this bike and really see what are you getting for your hard-earned money. As always, let's talk about the frame and the fork on the bike. So as I was mentioning, the frame on this bike is the 100 series Alpha aluminium or aluminum frame on the bike with the internal cable routing, also flat mount disc brakes and 12mm through axles front and the back. The fork, as I was mentioning, is the carbon fiber fork with the tapered carbon steerer, of course, flat mount disc brakes and 12mm through axles. This aluminium frame and this carbon fiber fork have a lot of, fender mounting points. And also one interesting thing on the frame is that it already uses the new UDH rear mech hanger, so this universal derailleur hanger, and I believe that this UDH hanger will now become more and more kind of standard on other carbon fiber frames of a Trek. One thing to keep in mind here with this frame is that as I'm looking at these images, I see that the cables which are running from the shifters and hydraulic disc brakes, they are coming into the frame through the top tube, basically through the headset, if you see. And as I'm looking at these images, I'm thinking, why, Trek, why? Why didn't you just do the cables easy way, going directly down the down tube? Because when you think about servicing this bike, because these cables are going through the headset, is definitely going to cost much more money to service this headset when you need to replace anything from the cables or hydraulic disc brakes. And definitely when you consider that this whole bike is 2,000 US dollars and then you get a service bill of, let's call it 200-300 US dollars, it's just not good enough in my opinion, and they should have designed these cables to go somewhere else, not through the headset. So just keep that in mind as a little detail with this kind of design of the bike. Okay, when we talk about the group set on the bike, this is definitely one of the secret sauces of this bike, because the shifters, the front mech and the rear mech is the latest, greatest Shimano 105 mechanical group set. This is the 12-speed mechanical group set. Shimano has recently released this group set maybe a few days ago, so it's absolutely a stunning mechanical group set, and it's going to work perfectly fine because Shimano does their mechanical group sets still the best on the market. Okay, so as I said, shifters, front mech and the rear mech, everything Shimano 105 mechanical 12-speed group set. Crankset on this bike, also Shimano 105, so no cutting corners, and this is the Shimano's 5034 chainrings at the front. It uses the Shimano's RS501 bottom bracket, which is a standard threaded BSA bottom bracket. Again, excellent, easy to service, and it is paired with the Shimano's 105 cassette, 1134 cassette, so again, no cutting corners here, and the chain is from the Shimano's mountain bike world. This is the Shimano SLX level chain, 12-speed chain. Superb chain, and in the future, when you are replacing the chain or the cassette, you can definitely use the chain from any of the mountain bike ranges of Shimano, as long as it is 12-speed compatible. And for the cassettes, again, you have a range of 12-speed cassettes to choose from Shimano. Is it maybe Shimano 105, Shimano Ultegra cassettes? I will just mention here a few more little details that when you look at this gear ratio of 11-34 cassette and 50-34 chainrings, you have this perfect 1-to-1 gear ratio. So definitely with this Trek Domane AL road bike, you can easily climb, any steep mountains, no problems here. And also the rear mech on this bike will accept the maximum cassette size of 36 tooth. If sometimes in the future you want to upgrade your cassette, so it's a 36 tooth cassette, there is a possibility to do that. Now let's look at the wheelset on the bike. So the wheelset is a very simple Bontrager aluminium wheelset. It consists of the Bontrager aluminium rims, 24 spokes front and back, 21 millimeters width of the rim, and it is paired with the Bontrager hubs, which are aluminium sealed bearing hubs, and of course 12 millimeter two axles front and back. So definitely a very simple aluminium wheelset. It's going to do the job, no problems here. I'll just mention that probably the weight of this wheelset is closer to something like 1,900 grams, I would call it. And this wheelset is wrapped in the Bontrager R1 tires. These are 32 millimeter tires in the 60 TPI version. So definitely it's not going to be a very supple tire, but this 32 millimeter tire will definitely give you a lot of air volume and a smooth bike ride. And the good thing here with this frame and the fork is that you can fit all the way up to 38 millimeter tires if you are not using the fenders on this bike. So definitely you can get, the air volume in the tires really big and really smooth ride. That's exactly what you want with this Trek Domane AL road bike, because 32 millimeter tires, in my opinion, should be the minimum on this bike as they are now. Okay, let's look at some of the smaller components like the seat post and the saddle. So the saddle is the Bontrager Verse saddle. If you like it, you like it. If not, it's very easy to replace because saddles are, personal preference. And the seat post on this bike is the classical aluminium seat post, 27.2 millimeters in diameter. And this is definitely an area in the future where you can upgrade this seat post. For example, you can buy some kind of carbon fiber seat post just to soak up a bit more of the road bumps. Again, I wish they have included the carbon fiber seat post here as a starting point, but okay, usually on these aluminium bikes, you will get a classical aluminium seat post. When you look at the handlebar and the stem, it is a classical aluminium handlebar paired with the aluminium stem. Nothing is proprietary here. These are separate pieces, so very easy to adjust your position on the bike. Very easy to, replace something in the future if you really want. And I will just mention here that, for example, in the size 56, the handlebar width is 42 centimeters. If you go higher sizes, like sizes 58 or 61 of the frame, you will get the handlebar width of 44 centimeters. This is a bit too wide, in my opinion. They should have kind of sticked with almost, 40 centimeter handlebars in today's world, because it will also contribute a bit with the kind of aerodynamic efficiency of the bike. So keep that in mind. If you want it a bit more aerodynamic, you can just, make the handlebars a bit narrower. For example, 40 centimeters would be more than enough, in my opinion. Now, let's talk about the braking system on the bike. So the braking system is from the Shimano hydraulic disc brakes, Shimano 105 level hydraulic disc brakes, and they are using the Shimano's RT70 braking rotors, which are 160 millimeter braking rotors front and the back, which is absolutely excellent. And again, in the future, I would advise you to stick with 160mm braking rotors, and you can choose from, again, Shimano 105 level braking rotors, Shimano Ultegra braking rotors. The sky is the limit, depending, how much money you have. Also, for the total weight of this bike, Trek is claiming in size 56 that the weight is 9.85 kilograms. And if you add pedals on top of that, let's say another 300 grams, maybe we are speaking about 10.1 kilograms for the, ride-ready bike. I think this is perfectly fine. As I was saying, this Domane AL aluminium road bike, you can't expect anything super light, and these kind of weights around 10 kilograms for an endurance road bike are perfectly acceptable in my opinion. If you really want to drop the weight, then of course always you can upgrade the wheels, you can upgrade the saddle and the seat post, handlebar and the stem, and then definitely you will drop the weight of this bike, maybe even as high as half kilogram to 1 kilogram. So, okay, in a summary, what is my advice to you, considering that the retail price of this bike is $2,000? Well, I can definitely say to you, go ahead and buy this bike if you want a very simple, quality aluminium road bike to start with as a starting point into going into the road cycling. And then with time, you can easily upgrade some parts or even, upgrade the total bike and buy a carbon fiber frame in the fork. The only reason here that you really need to consider is that although the price is attractive at $2,000, you have to consider these cables, as I was saying. So the cables running from the shifters, hydraulic disc brakes, everything goes into the headset here at the front. It's not the perfect solution when you need to service something and you bring it to your local bike shop. It will definitely cost more money than if Trek has designed the cables just to go nicely through the, for example, down tube, or to avoid this headset area for driving the cables into the bike. So this is the only main complaint I have about this bike. Everything else is a very attractive price point, especially because you are getting this newest Shimano 105 mechanical Groupset, 12-speed Groupset, which is going to be superb. So this is going to be it for today. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, keep on watching, keep on liking, and as always, I will see you soon in the next episode. Cheers!